Hey there, welcome back to the Win a Pageant podcast. I'm your coach, Alicia Darby. Now, this episode features a client of mine who agreed to 3 specific things: to be coachable, to be vulnerable, and to have her coaching session recorded and published in order to help you. So I know that a lot of women who haven't had pageant coaching before don't really know what to expect or how much can you really even get done in 30 minutes. So this client of mine agreed to have her session recorded in order to show you what gets done and how it gets done during a virtual coaching session. Okay. So I want you to listen to this call from 2 different perspectives. First of all, I want you to think, could pageant coaching, especially virtually, even be something that could help you in your pageant prep? I want you to be thinking about that. At the end of the video, I'll tell you how you could make that a reality for you. The second thing that I really want you to pay attention to is I want you to think the things that I'm sharing with her, the coaching that I'm giving her, how can you apply that coaching to your own pageant prep, okay? What are the things that she's learning in this and the skills that she's developing and the strategy that she's learning? How can you apply that to yourself? I'm so grateful that this client allowed me to record this call because I know a lot of the things that she learned during this call will support you in your pageant prep. So sit back with an open mind, maybe get a notepad and a pen handy because a lot of this coaching is going to apply to you too, all right? Enjoy. I got the paperwork that you sent me. It's gorgeous. Thank you for sending this over. It really looks lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell me how I can help you today.
I really want to get involved in the community. We moved to Oregon about 1.5 years ago, and I just love it. And so I was Googling like how to get involved, and this pageant came up. And I love all things like beauty, wellness, health. Like that's just, those are my passions. And I really try to talk myself out of it, but I was like, nope, I'm going to do this. So, here I am, like find myself at almost 40 participating in a pageant, and I want to do my best. I want to go all in. Yeah. So I didn't have a platform, and that's why I'm calling you. So I actually do have a coach that helps me like interview online. Yeah. Or, like this, but I haven't budgeted for 4 more months of coaching because my pageant was supposed to be the last weekend. Got you. Yeah. So I was really dialed in and like really ready to go. So I've taken a little break with her because, I just have to, and I'm home with my kids all day now. So I'm trying to wisely and to develop a platform, which I had none. So I came up with my original plan was self-care because that's something I think everybody can benefit from. And I think we're just so chaotic right now. I'm a fitness instructor too. So I always like, helping people feel good in their body and like mentally, physically. Yeah. However, I don't know how to put it into place. I don't know how to like make a plan, Yep. And in the last couple of weeks, I have been I've done this for a while, and I have a couple what I call gratitude groups. Is I'm really practicing gratitude because, what else can we do right now, right? We lean into our faith. And I'm wondering if I should shift away because I guess I should say, so I'm running for Mrs. Oregon, which is Mrs. America. Yes. The national pageant. And it was told to me that we actually didn't need a platform. That's just kind of a plus. But I do want to have something. Like I want to have something that I stand for and a plan. I think that's, why not? If you're going to have that title, if you're so lucky, then I want to have a plan and use it wisely, right? That's right. So I've been wondering if maybe I should like shift to just practicing gratitude just because it's more simple. It's like an easy thing to do. It's easy to articulate rather than like, well, you could sleep more or drink more water so maybe we can work on that. Just like how to dial in a little bit and then maybe have like, I want like ways I can help people like actually do it, Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. This is great. And I hear your heart in that and I also hear the newness to pageantry. And so I want it, which is fine, like, cause we all have to start somewhere. I want to kind of speak into first the newness so that you are able to see, because it's what I found is that after somebody competes for the very first time, they have a completely different, can you still hear me, Tara? Yeah. Okay. There was a heater right underneath me and it was like blowing hot air. I'm like, oh, you're like, yeah. Okay, good. got that figured out. Okay. Newness. Yeah. So
there's a lot of things that you will realize on the other side of the pageant, and you've already invested a lot. And so I would hate for you to continue down a path that when you arrive to the pageant, you will realize is the wrong path, right? And many people do when they first get started. So most pageants, of all of the pageants that there are many, most of them do not require a platform. And yet, the women that win have a platform. And so what we have found is that pageants don't require a platform because for some women it can feel very daunting. And even for you right now, you're saying your pageant was supposed to be now, probably, and you didn't have a platform all up until now. And now you're like, maybe this is something I ought to consider. So if you would have known that you needed a platform, you may not have actually participated. And so what pageants don't want to do is turn people away just because they haven't thought about the idea of having a platform yet, you know? Right. So, because they only need one winner. So they don't care if you compete this year and it takes you competing to figure out you need a platform, right? But you do need a platform, okay? I cannot stress it enough. So the traditional platforms that women choose are like, especially somebody that's brand new, and for pageants where they say you have to have a platform. What a lot of women will do is they choose an organization that they have either loose ties to. So they're like, oh, my great uncle died from cardiovascular disease, so I choose cardiovascular disease. So it's either they have something that they have a loose tie to, or it's an organization that they just like, that they like to do Really for Life. They used to do it a couple times when they were a kid, so they're like, Really for Life, I choose that, even if they don't have a tie to it. So the problem with that is that it is not something that came from them, okay? So the work that we do is we first figure out your brand, and we want to pull from that, what is your platform that's already living inside of you? Then we say, okay, when you've got a platform and you know that this is something that you stand for, now you can say, okay, this is what I want to do even after my title. So sometimes people are doing the thing that becomes their platform before they even get into the pageant. That's what I find with a lot of Mrs. contestants, is that it's likely you are already doing something now that we could market it in a way that becomes more like a platform for a pageant, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the next step is, so what a lot of, and you mentioned that you are working with a coach who does questions, and there is a time and place for question and answer, and especially if somebody is uncomfortable with just speaking, if somebody struggles, or they get embarrassed, or they just need practice with communication skills, then drilling questions over and over is good practice for them to just get used to answering questions. But and that's how most women prepare. Most women are like, Mom, ask me a question, you know, but to your husband, like, babe, ask me anything. Like, think of the wildest thing you can ask me and I'm going to answer it. Like, right. We do this to ourselves and drive ourselves crazy. Like, just ask me anything. Right. And then you get into the pageant, and what new women find that, and if a judge is like, if I'm interviewing somebody and it's obvious, like, they're not going to win, like, they just don't have what it takes, but it's their first pageant, I want them to have a good time. I want them to have a good experience. I'm not going to embarrass them. I'm not going to make them feel uncomfortable.
They're all like that.
Right?
I hope they're all really kind. Yeah.
So they want you to have a good experience, but they're still not going to pick you. So they're going to give you easy questions. They're going to make you're going to leave being like, oh, that felt really good. Like, I think they really like me. And then they're thinking like, oh, she might be come back next year. Okay. So that's what goes on. So then the person who's new goes through the entire pageant. They realize they didn't even make it in the top 5. They're so confused because they thought they had a really great interview. They thought that the judges liked them. It isn't even about that. What it's really about is it's about what are you going to be able to do with this title. So if I am the judge and I have this opportunity for you, then I'm going to give it to somebody. One of these girls is going to walk away with this. Who do I trust most with this opportunity? And this opportunity, what they are going to need to do with this is that they are going to need to get in front of more people so that there's more women next year that compete in the pageant. They're going to need to actually carry the brand in a way that is in alignment with what the pageant is presenting. So in your case, it's very glamorous. It's very healthy and fit and vibrant and young looking, like all those things. So they're going to be looking for that. And they're wondering, Who am I going to trust with this? They're going to want to go with somebody who is able to book appearances, somebody that's able to get media, somebody that is so much of a go-getter that they don't have to do the work. Because if I could just choose anybody and pluck her out of a cornfield and say, this is our winner, and I did all of the marketing for them, and I did all of the media appearances, and I did all this stuff, then it doesn't matter. But when you're relying, like in your pageant, in many cases, they are relying on the title holder to be able to be marketable to go get stuff, right? So how do we do that? We've got to prove in the interview that you actually can do this, okay? So the way that we do that is, instead of just allowing questions and answers, and you come off like, oh, she would be so fun to take to lunch, like, that's great, but that isn't what we're doing. We're trying to trust you with this title. So what I teach is this thing called conversation loops. And it works like this. It's like when you get asked a question, like, what is your favorite thing to do with your husband? Instead of what a lot of newbies would do and feel really happy about it, is they would actually go into their filing cabinet of their brain, and they would go to the folder that says activities with my husband. And they would pull that out of their brain, and they would look at all the things that they do with their husband, and they would choose one. Oh, here's an activity I like with my husband. Oh, we play tennis, and we love to do tennis. Like, we're in a bowling league, and we like to host our friends for family dinner every Thursday night. Okay. And you're like, oh, that felt so great. I said all the great things, and they love me. But when you leave the interview, they're like, what is this woman doing? Hosting dinner parties? Like, who cares, right? So what you need to do instead is go into the filing folder that you've been preparing in an interview, which says, here are the stories that I need to talk about in my interview. Here are my core values that I need to communicate into my interview. Here's the promise that I will deliver during my time as a title holder. Here is the greatest accolade that I want everybody to know about. Here is the proof that I actually have done something already, that I'm going to be able to rock this sucker. Here's the plan that I have in place. Here are the companies that I already know, right? That's the kind of stuff that needs to come out of your mouth in interview. So we're going to be able to do a little bit of this stuff today. Have you been listening to the Win a Pageant podcast at all?
Yes, girl. I've been listening to lots of them. Yay. So I've actually been preparing for like 6 months. Okay. And trying to do some of this, like bring it back to me, like, somehow spin it to my platform or tell a story. And I have, and I think the podcasts are so helpful. And I've been, when I can, I've got 2 kids here, but I've been watching the virtual, I was listening today to the recap of yesterday's about like what's a winner versus not, Yes, good. And so I'm, you actually said it, and my girlfriend was the one, because I was like, I'm doing this pageant, I don't know. And she was like, if you're going to do it, you better do it. Yeah. And I decided about 4 months ago I was like, yep, I'm going to go all in. And you actually said that today. You're like, stop half-assing it, kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
All in. So yes, I have been listening, and I feel really confident in who I want to represent just as myself, but I want to be able to do it I want to show up there and just do my best. I want to feel comfortable, and I'd love to take home the title, that's.
So let me ask you this question. Are you feeling, and it's okay if it doesn't matter how you feel, you're still going to compete, you're going to have a great time. But here's my question. Are you competing in this year? Because some women want to compete 1 year and they don't want to win their first year. They just want to get the experience. And then they're ready to win the next year. Some people are like, I am not putting this much time and effort to not win this year. Like, this will be the year that I win. And some people are like, I never want to win. I just want to check it off my list to compete. I don't want to win. I don't, and so the approach can be different for each person. How do you, because you what you said was, I would love to win. Like, if they gave it to me, I would take it. But do you want to take it?
Yes, I think it would be fantastic. And I'd love to be in the Mrs. America pageant. And I did this for fun, but the more I get into it, the healthy competition of it, and the girls are so nice and so lovely. And right now there's only 5 of us. Oregon really seems to be an underdog state, when it comes to pageants. Yeah. So I think, and to what you said earlier, that the director is really looking for someone to kind of promote this. Like, they want to make this a California or a Florida. And so we had a practice round, and I was able to kind of talk about that. She asked me some of those questions, which was great. But yeah, I'm going all in. I mean, okay. I might have said when I first signed up that this is like one and done for me, but I don't know. I really like it.
I know, so you catch the pageant bug, and then you're like, oh, it's so good. Yeah.
When else do you get all dressed up and do your hair and your makeup? And like I'm a hairstylist. Okay. So, it's just right up my alley, all of these fun beauty things,
Yes, absolutely. All right. So let's dive in. And I'm going to share, Tara, that in the next 15 minutes, we likely are not going to be able to solve all of those issues. Okay. We're going to do our best. You're going to continue to learn in the virtual pageant summit. You'll learn more from my talk on Saturday. I think something that would really benefit you would be the pageant interview game plan, because it walks through this exact process. It's something you can do from home. It's a lower price point, so you don't have to continue spending for one-on-one interview coaching with your person, So that could be something that you benefit from, and you get access to a group where you can kind of run things by us and that whole thing. So that could be a next step for you. But let's just get the brainstorming going here, and let's see what we can kind of draw out of you and what comes to mind that you might be able to run with,
Honey, can you ask Daddy? No. She's not connected to the internet.
Oh, the internet has been crazy lately.
He's on the phone. Okay, bring me your iPad real quick. Oh, I'm so sorry. You might. That's cute. One of them's napping, and this one's quiet time. And I gave her the iPad. I was like, just take the iPad, for like 30 minutes.
And she's like, now the internet's not working. What the heck? Oh, my games are gone.
The world is ending.
And the sky is falling. Internet is down. The sky is falling.
And I'm glad for the internet right now in our circumstances, for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's part of the problem of like the chaos of everyone's brain and mind and go, go, go. It's just so constant. And so I would like my platform to reflect a way for people to find like a little peace and a slower pace and just like enjoy life.
Yeah, yeah. Is it okay if she's on camera? Hi.
This is Alicia.
Hi. What's your name?
Dylan.
Hi, Dylan. I'm happy to meet you. It's so fun you get to play with the iPad right now, huh? Yeah. Have a good time.
Can you close the door, sweetie? No. You have to go out there, okay? I love you. Close the door, please. Thank you.
So cute. So let's talk about some of the other elements that are really important in your life. And I'm even envisioning when you have women come and sit in your chair as a stylist, there are certain things that probably come up. And when you sit there all day and you listen, there's likely a theme that you find yourself inspiring and encouraging through. So maybe you can even think of what is the thing that keeps coming up that you're like, I always tell women this, like this is the area. Can you think of something off the top of your head right now?
Yes, I can, because I do have a lot of women, and it's it's not really specific to an age bracket, but I can tell like they're going to be happy or they're not. And it really isn't about their hair. It's about how they're feeling inside. And sometimes after a lot of conversation, they'll finally admit it themselves. Like one lady, I've lost 100 pounds. I don't know who this is in the mirror. And she wants to chop all of her hair off, and then she wants to dye it red. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah. Wow.
There's some women that are super gray, but they want to look like they did when they were 30, and you can't. And so I have no problem saying to them, like, listen, I'll do my very best. I want to make you happy. Like, my goal is for you to feel really good about your hair and yourself. But if you're not happy on the inside, like there's nothing I can do to please you. Wow, and I don't mind saying that anymore, because I've learned over the years, like it's the truth. And, beauty is within. Like that's do the feeling, more than, don't get me wrong. You can mess someone's hair up, but
yes.
So I think that's a recurring theme.
That's
it's just
beautiful.
Happy people or pretty people, right? What's that saying?
Yes. Yeah.
So
this is good. So do you find that coming up with your kids at all? This theme of like internal happiness and self-esteem?
With my kids? I feel like they're 3 and 5. So I don't think they've come to a place of like feeling any judgment or that society is like push them down at all yet. You know, they're not comparing themselves to anyone. They're just playing. They want to actually think it's lovely because they are like, hey, let's play, you know, like they have no judgment. They don't see colors or races. Like they don't see what car you drive. They are just innately loving humans. Like, you know, so that's cool. Just to,
how about for your own life? Was there ever a time where you did either not have that internal beauty and sense of self, or that you felt a transition? What was it? What was that journey like for you?
Yeah. You know, I think, and because I will credit my dad, I really was always kind of confident, that maybe it was like a quiet confidence, but I didn't necessarily always feel like I fit in. I didn't feel like, I remember in college joining a sorority, but never, and they would always try to include me, but I just never felt like I was like one of them. But it was my own like distance. And then times where like I committed to something, but I didn't fully commit because I felt like, I don't know if I really want to go all in, or I wasn't so sure of myself. So I don't really know where that changed, but somewhere along the way, I just decided, sorry. Okay. I thought I turned all that stuff off. You know, there's like the watch and the phone.
All the things dinging. Yeah.
I think somewhere along the way, I just decided, like, you know, when you were younger and people would say like, oh, that's so you, I'd be like, oh, is that me? Is that weird? Like, what does that mean? Is that me? And now when people are like, oh, I saw this and I thought of you, or like, oh, that's so you, I'm like, thanks. Because that's me.
Oh, you know?
Yeah. I don't know when it happened, but there was a point where it was like, no, yeah, that's me. And I'm cool with that, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. That's a cool kind of breakthrough, you know? I like that. So,
I like that, yeah.
So what are the things that you do in your day-to-day life that cultivate that spirit of like, you know, being so you? Like you mentioned fitness, you mentioned healthy habits and sleep and electronics and things like that. But what do you really do on a day-to-day basis for yourself?
I mean, I always practice gratitude. I try to think of 3 things before I get out of bed that I'm thankful for. And I truly believe that sort of changes your mindset, you know. Yeah. I also try to get up early because I like a little quiet time. And I like to read my Bible or do, you know, whatever it is. If I'm doing a Bible study, I just like to journal and just like have a little peace. I love exercising. I'm one of those people, which sounds like you. I'm going to take my sweater off. I've loved exercising my whole life. Yeah. I crave it. I want to do it. So that I feel lucky that I'm like naturally, you know, I'm naturally motivated to do that. And then what else? I mean, I do have some gratitude. Like this will be our 3rd year where I run a gratitude group, and it's just some women. We send an email every day for a few months in a row, like just practicing gratitude. And that's super cool. It's easy. And I try to drink enough water. You know, I try to eat well. I try to read at night instead of watching TV. You know, I go through stages of things, but it's all sort of wellness related. I mean, I kind of eat up, and I really love it. I love hair and makeup and fashion and all that too, in terms of like a platform or, you know, what my project would be more to like inspire people. Like I think we were made to live full lives, you know, and I think so many people are just exhausted. And, I decided a while back when we moved here, especially, like it's just a slower pace and I love it. I love like staying at home sometimes and enjoying life a little bit more. So those are some of the things.
That's good. Tell me more about the gratitude group.
So I kind of copied somewhat. Do you know Rachel Hollis?
Yeah.
Girls. Yeah, I love her.
Yes.
And she was like 2 years ago, like a huge phenomenon. So she does the last 90-day challenge.
Okay.
Anyway, the last 90 days of the year, you kind of like finish strong rather than like falling off the wagon. Right. So I just started with a few friends, and then we got a few more friends and a few more friends, and we just sent an email we did October, November, December, which I think is a bit long, to be honest. 3 months is like kind of a long time, but we have a chain and we send an email with 3 things we're grateful for. That's it. Just, it's pretty simple. Sometimes people elaborate. Sometimes people will say like, this week I want to have only 2 alcoholic beverages, or I want to work out 4 days a week, or, whatever the goal is for the week. But it's pretty simple. It's just 3 things we're grateful for once a day.
Once a day. Okay. I like this plan. Mm-hmm. And so you did it with, it's cool. So you did it with a group of friends and you said, we're all committed to this. And was it all oriented around goal setting, or was it more, could it be anything?
It was pretty much like, let's just say things we're grateful for to try to be in a positive mindset. Yeah, it was. And then sometimes people would throw in a goal for the week, or say like, hey, I'm kind of struggling, but I'm thankful for this and this. So it was pretty loose, to be honest.
Yeah. And it sounds like it wasn't necessarily like a support group. It was really more of an accountability. Like, we're all committed to this. We're going to send it. And even if no one read it, that was okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah, I like this.
And I think it makes you look for the good, when you. So that's what I was wondering, because at first I was thinking like, self-care platform, how much water are you drinking? How much sleep are you getting? But I'm like, that's just so broad. And it's, somebody may be hitting the gym and drinking all their water, but they're struggling mentally or spiritually. So I don't know, just over these last couple of weeks, I'm like, gratitude just seems really simple, you know?
Yes.
Not that it's easy, but just like a simple thing that everyone can do.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to give you an idea here, and it might land perfectly, and you might say, this is the thing, perfect, yay, I'm off to the races. Or you might say like, I hate it altogether. Or you might say like, I like parts of it and not other parts, and any of those are fine. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of take like all the things that you shared and reflect it back to you through a theme that you might consider using. Okay. So imagine if your platform was, and we're recording this, so you don't have to write notes, but if things come to your mind, that if the Holy Spirit's telling you something, write it down, because you won't be able to rethink that. Okay. So the beauty of gratitude, your heart story being that there was a time in your life where someone would compliment you with, oh, that is so you. And you would question it. Like you would question it, like, is it really me? And what's that mean? And should I be offended by that or what? Until one day you flipped that and you said, you know what, whenever someone says that, I'm going to be grateful for that, and I'm going to receive it as a compliment. So then you start, when someone says, that is so you are grateful, like, yes, it is me. And you received it as gratitude. There's beauty in gratitude. When women sit in your chair and they say, oh, I need to cover my grays, or I need to dye my hair, I need to be a different person. You might say to them, look at this thick, full hair that you have. You redirect to, here are the things to be grateful for. Yeah, you might be losing your hair, or you might be whatever, but you still have a great family, or you still have an amazing job, or you still have this and that. Like, there are other things in life to be grateful for. And when we refocus our mind on those things, then we are able to be truly beautiful on the inside. How does that feel for you?
It feels very authentic, really, to be honest. It doesn't feel like a stretch. It feels like a nice story to tell, too, that kind of paints a picture.
Right.
Which I love.
Good. Yeah, good.
I love that.
So the piece that we, that you will, when we're off this call, that you'll continue working on is to share the heart story around, and we're going to tie the things together. So whatever your platform is, so let's say that it's the beauty of gratitude. So we're kind of tying those things, because I like the idea of tying in your being a hairstylist and that concept that you meet with women on a regular basis who come to you for a beauty treatment. That's a beauty treatment, whether I'm getting my hair cut or dyed or shaved off, that's a beauty treatment. So there is beauty in that experience, but the real beauty comes in the gratitude that they are going to have for how you make them feel. Like the people who are probably like, thank you so much, and you get a big tip, is when you speak life into them beyond just they have a good hairstyle at the end, right? So there's beauty in that gratitude. So I want you to think through your heart story around, we go into depth in this in the pageant interview game plan. So if you decide that that's for you, you'll learn it more. But essentially you want to figure out, how am I going to explain my then and now? Like, what transformation did I have? And I think that what you described as that, oh, it's so you, I think that there's something in that, So then the next thing is, okay, so now this is my platform. It's the beauty of gratitude. So what are we going to do with it? And I like your idea of the daily kind of touch-ins, but Excuse me, I'm eating a hair. But the problem is that, like you said, 3 months feels like too long. So for some people that are like, they might need to take a break, or they might need to, but they'll come in and out of it. I'm wondering if there were something that could exist as a forum where people could read the gratitude of others. And this could be as simple as a Facebook group. And you're experiencing a Facebook group right now at the Virtual Pageant Summit. Imagine if people were on a regular basis posting in there the 3 things that they're grateful for. And this could be anybody throughout the world. You moderate it, and you be the one that is like maybe even giving extra tips on additional gratitude things or additional things that can make them feel that beauty from the inside out. That's kind of where you would share your strategies, but or maybe not. Maybe you share your stuff in a different place on your social media or wherever. But this is a forum that holds the gratitude. Like that when people show up at this group, they feel the energy. They see what other people are grateful for. The fact that they got to eat today. Like someone might post, I'm thrilled. I actually got to eat today, and I haven't eaten in days, and this was incredible. I got a full meal. I felt full at the end of it, and this was beautiful. And I'm so grateful for that. And to be able to listen and read those other things, we automatically have gratitude for anything else in our own lives, right?
Right.
So creating space for people to do that, I think. The email thing, I think, is okay, but it is limiting because you have to have everybody's emails, and then other people are receiving the emails, and you don't want to be getting hundreds of thousands of emails. But if you did it in a group where no one was expected to respond, the only responses were cheerleading responses, uplifting and encouraging responses, and there maybe perhaps you even suggest that there is no other conversation. That truly that group is only about posting gratitude. You post your 3 things you're grateful for, and then we don't get in these side tangents. We don't get on this other crazy stuff like, people judging other people's gratitude. Like, no, what are you grateful for? Post it, and then that's it. That could be some. How does that feel for you to do something like that?
I like that. I was thinking originally like more along the lines of Instagram, but I didn't. There's not as much like interaction there, especially with the way it is now in the scrolling and everything. So, but I don't know why. I don't really use Facebook that often. I always post through Instagram to Facebook. Yeah. That sounds a really great place to start, like kind of a simple place, and everybody is on it.
That's right. Yes.
Almost everyone I know is on there. And that would be like a tangible thing that I could say to like, hey, I started this, and we're here. So
that's
it's
right.
kind
That's
of
your proof. Like I started this group. I have 100 people that have joined. We started in the beginning of April, and in a month's time, we were able to have hundreds of people. And every day we've got all these posts, and amazing what comes of it. And you'll be able to get some stories there. I do like the idea of Instagram. Perhaps you also encourage people to post on Instagram and tag you in it if they want you to re-share it. You could even you could create an Instagram that's literally just for the beauty of gratitude and call it Beauty of Gratitude. And that whole thing just posts or reposts people's 3 things they're grateful for. You could even start posting yours there. Here's what I'm grateful for, and start to get them and make it simple. Like don't just make it like on a notepad, like da-da-da-da-da, like, or a black and white thing, like make it very simple. It don't overthink it, make it all fancy with flowers and lace and like, don't do that, keep it simple. Yeah. I think that could be something useful and shareable. Say it again?
I was just, do you think that needs to be separate from my account? Like this is a dedicated
It doesn't need
account.
to be. It doesn't need to be. It depends on the life that you want it to take. If you want it to be something that it kind of is for some reason, I'm kind of liking the idea that I'm not judged for whatever I say I'm grateful for. And if today I'm grateful because I've been constipated for 4 days and finally I pooped, and if that's what I'm posting there, then that might be the thing that I don't want people to judge me for that or whatever, or if I had a miscarriage and then I just had my first child after 3 miscarriages, I might want to share my gratitude, but maybe I don't want to have people know that. Do you know what I mean? Like this could become an anonymous outlet where people just feel like they get to share without feeling judged or without feeling like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm using examples of a variety of places because not everybody's true gratitude is like a simple, like, oh, I had a great workout and like, oh, whatever. It's not all of that. It's really can be and ought to be from a very deep place, because that's where we realize in those moments where the skies are so dark gray, we can see the silver lining, and we're training ourselves to see that silver lining,
Yeah. Yes. I like that a lot. Hey, cool. And I feel like that's kind of I could do that tonight. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I could get started on that too.
100%. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. We did good here. This is good. So at least it's a little start. You might even, as you're sitting in quiet time, pray about it, because God will likely show you other things that are suitable specifically for you, other tools that you might be able to use. If we had more time, we'd be able to dig even deeper. And if that's something you want to do, we can do it. I think, again, the pageant interview game plan could be useful for you. Take a look at it. I'll put it in the chat, the link to it. It's winapageant.com/game plan. In case that's something that you want to check out. But this might get you off to the races and you might just be fine.
Or is it a one time?
That is, you purchase it one time and you get access to it as long as it exists. So I have women in there who've been in there for years, and they continue every new pageant they compete in. They redo their branding. They redo they deepen their legacy project. Usually they're staying with the same legacy. I have had girls transition their legacy projects, but usually they deepen it. But then you come up with your story vault. You come up with your, how am I going to lead these conversations? All those things. So mock interviews.
That's really good.
Yeah. Story vaults are so helpful. Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. Okay. Alicia, I appreciate it more than you know.
Yay, thanks, Tara.
I feel like this is inspirational, and I will definitely check that out.
Ooh, wasn't that good stuff? Oh, I hope you learned so much from her. I know I had so much fun doing this strategy call with her, as we usually do. It's fun. So 2 things. If you need to hear more of these strategy sessions, because they're so good and you can learn so much from them, then just search strategy sessions, because I have a few more clients that also agreed to be recorded. So you'll be able to look at the behind the scenes of their calls as well. And then if you are ready to schedule your strategy session, you can go to winapageant.com/coaching. That's going to take you to my calendar so you can see what appointments are available and when you can book yours. And you'll also see pricing options there, which types of calls are available and how much do each of them cost. And you can book your call directly from there. I cannot wait to work with you. Head over to winapageant.com/coaching to check it out. I'll see you next time.